So, shipping containers then. Tell me more about how that's a type of green construction.
So typically, the lovely shipping container is just sitting on a port. It typically goes from one location to the next. Typically, you see it on a 18-wheeler riding down the street. It's typically used for transporting. Now, once it's done getting to its final destination, typically it's never used ever again. It sits there and typically is not used more than once. So it's only used at one time in one direction, is not going to go back to where it came from, and is not going to be used again in its new
Really?
location. And so typically because it's just sitting there, it's being, I would say, not used, and it could be potentially wasteful because of not being able to use it multiple times. So we use it in building because now we find a new use for it. So now we're recycling something that once was not being used or had been used and no longer being used. And we're now finding a new way to be able to give it a new life.
That's so awesome. Do you have some examples of where green construction has utilized shipping containers and how that might look?
Oh, yes. One simple example that we've seen recently is at Fisk University. They created student housing using shipping containers. And I'm so
Wow.
excited for the young people because now they have a chance of living a more healthier life because they're not exposed to harmful chemicals and they're able to live in a space that does have that green component to it. So you guys can literally look up student housing at Fisk University shipping containers, some language like that, and you'll see how it's being used in our universities.
That is so cool. What are some other examples of using shipping containers like that for housing? I never thought about that. How else has it been used?
Oh, yes. So the shipping container and housing is really special. So you can build your tiny homes. People synonymously think container homes are automatically tiny, but you can build a tiny home with a shipping container. And what's good about that is they're permanently fixed. So for the owner, that's considered real property. It can be appraised, it can be insured. If it has wheels
Hmm.
on it, you cannot insure it or get it appraised. It can be
Oh.
used as a traditional home. That's actually the common way that we provide services. Our typical customer wants a 2,500 square foot container home. And so people, again, because they automatically think tiny, don't know that when you place them side by side or if you stack them, you actually can make much larger structures.